Ladies and gentlemen, we are live, and KRC is proud to present to you the 2005 Aaron's 499 on NASCAR 06 Total Team Control. The next race in our Do It For Dale series, race number 9 of 36, will mark the 1/4 mark on the Cup Series season and our quest to try and get Dale Jr. his first career NASCAR Nextel Cup Series championship. And we go to a track where the Earnhardt name is all too familiar with Victory Lane, and that is the Talladega Super Speedway. Like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as we're about to get into tonight's 500-mile extravaganza at Talladega. I'm pumped. Hopefully you guys are as well in the chat below. About to get qualifying underway. Car feels really good after practice. I only ran about 6 laps, but it feels comfortable even in traffic. Obviously, as the tires start to wear, which we'll see a lot of that on the bumpier Talladega surface. That was the case in 2005. The repave didn't happen until 06, so definitely going to have a very bumpy ride in this one, similar to the Daytona 500 earlier this season. And going to have to manage those tires really well. Obviously, it's going to be really hard to hang on the long green flag runs, but it should make for a fun race. One of the best races in channel history, potentially, with a question mark, was the Daytona 500 earlier this year on this NASCAR 06 season. We'll see if Talladega is going to bring the same style of racing, because that finish was wild, and I'm sure this one will come down to the wire as well. Wade Zielinski, Billy Carjoy, and others, welcome into the stream, and qualifying is set to begin. Dale Jr. qualified on the pole for the Daytona 500 earlier this season. We'll see if he can get the pole in the Aaron's 499 at Talladega tonight as well. Patrick Shadley, welcome to the stream as well. Now, I have won in the Cup Series at Talladega once before on the NASCAR EA Sports video games, and it came back on NASCAR Thunder 2004. Did not win one in the Cup Series, at least in NASCAR 05. But we'll see what Dale Jr. can do today. He's got a little bit of a looser setup for qualifying compared to what he's going to have in the race. They're going to put a round of wedge into the car when the race starts, but trying to get it on the edge of control for just 2 laps to see if he could sit on the front row once again. Derek Booth, welcome to the stream as well. Yeah, sitting right smack dab in the middle of the chase right now is Dale Jr. coming into today's race. 180 points out of first. 5th in the standings. Cannot afford to DNF with where he's at right now if he's going to want to make the chase at the end of the regular season. He's going to run the middle to upper lane. Now he's going to go way up the racetrack intentionally on lap 1 through turns 1 and 2. Just to try and just build momentum up for that way when the second lap starts, he can roll to the bottom maybe a little bit quicker than what he would have if he just ran the bottom all the way through. You see this usually in Cup qualifying as well on the super speedways. Just got to make sure he runs a perfect line. He never tried to run the top at practice, so this is definitely unique for him. His car's handling well up here, even with the looser and edgier setup than when he ran in practice. And down to the bottom through the trial. So lap 1's not going to be great. He's probably going to be outside the top 30, but he's going to pick up a ton on lap 2, and he'll carry the momentum to the start-finish line. 33rd on lap 1 of a 50.192. Dale Jr. really has to pick up that pace, and I'm sure he's going to have a shot at the pole once again. I believe this would be his 4th pole of the season if he can get it done in just the first 9 races. Hooking that yellow line all the way through 1 and 2. Back straight away as well. The marker is moving as you see on the tracker in the bottom of the screen. Really good lap going for Dale Jr. right now. But I don't think it's going to be good enough for the pole. He's starting to slip away just a little bit into the tri-oval. And back to the start-finish line, 49.807. It will be 13th in qualifying for Dale Jr., so not exactly what he had hoped for. Thought he had a faster car than that. It's a Hendrick Motorsports lockout on the front row with Jimmy Johnson starting on the pole for tonight's race. Jeff Gordon will start in 2nd. We're used to seeing those Hendrick Chevys qualify really well in the super speedways. No surprise those two have locked out the front row tonight. Susie Ninacek, welcome to the stream. CIA, welcome as well. And 20 viewers already, and we haven't even gotten the race started. Everybody's pumped and ready for tonight's action, as am I. Only 4 likes right now, so make sure to smash that like button, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content, and we'll see what this race will bring. Green flag is going to be in the air. Johnson will lead the field to the green, and we're underway in the Aaron's 499 at Talladega. And Junior already going to take it 3 wide into turns 1 and 2. It looked like Nemechek pulled out of line, so he got a bit of a draft. And Dale Jr. already going to pass 2 cars on the initial start. Both of his DEI counterparts qualified inside the top 10. Truex coming off a blown engine in last night's race at Phoenix. Michael Waltrip finished in 30th. He got in a wreck middle of the race, still finished, but unfortunately did not finish well, despite the fact he was in the top 3 at one point. And even Truex, when he blew his engine, was in 7th. Then he ended up getting involved in an accident on his way to blowing the engine, trying to nurse it to pit road. Off turn 4, 3 wide, middle of the pack. Earnhardt holds on to it. I just realized I did not tighten the car up before the start of this race. I have the qualifying setup in it. That is not good. Not intentional either. Oh my goodness. Kenseth nearly got turned in the tri-oval. Dale Jr. was trying to bump draft him, and the bumpers did not align right. Through the bumps and with these Gen 4 cars, Kenseth did a great job keeping it off the outside wall, and that risk did not pay off for Dale Jr. Not a bad... I mean, considering the other 2 DEI cars were in the top 10, I honestly felt I had more speed in qualifying, but hopefully that means the car is going to be good in traffic. A couple laps in, so far so good. Won a 50-lap Daytona Tri-Oval night race on Forza Motorsport 7. I see that. Congrats on your victory. Yeah, the setup's a little edgier. It could be faster if I can hang on to it. I think I'll be fine, at least for the early going of the run. And honestly, we'll see on the long run. Maybe I just keep the setup in it, and it's going to be a bit faster than the previous setup. It's not possible. No drafting help in front of Dale Jr., though. He had Kenseth, but he tried to bump draft him rather than share draft. A little too aggressive on lap 2. Kenseth got a little bit sideways, lost a couple positions. Share draft is going to be of the utmost importance today. Jimmy Johnson out in front from the pole, leading the first few laps of the Aaron's 499 at Talladega. Johnson actually in real life got a win in 2005 at Talladega as well. Sorry, in 2006 rather. 2005, as Hendrick Motorsports teammate Jeff Gordon got the victory in the spring race. Gordon started on the front row, side-by-side action in front of Dale Jr., side drafting each other on the back straightaway. 77 didn't physically push the 8 of Dale Jr. that time, but he had a car close enough behind him that Jr. got a little bit extra momentum as he runs the top side through turns 3 and 4. Jr. with a bump draft to John Andretti, and it was a clean one at that. Now hops down to the bottom lane in front of Sterling Marlin behind Shane Neal in the 08 rookie. And that's Chevrolet. Jr. to the outside of him going into turn 1. Jr. is racing pretty hard in the early going to this race. Now going to share draft with Carl Edwards through turns 1 and 2. On the outside lane. Truex nearly got in the wall off the exit of turn 2 up ahead. Jr. pulls clear. A block on Neal. Gets to the inside of Edwards. 3 wide in front of him with Jeff Gordon, Joe Nemechek, and Martin Truex Jr. Dale Jr. down to the bottom. A DEI sandwich on Nemechek, it looks like, off the exit of turn 4. Truex trying to side draft the right rear corner panel to 0-1 of Nemechek. Dale Jr. from the 13th qualifying position is up to 7th in just 5 laps. And right in line behind the outside pole sitter, Jeff Gordon. Johnson way out in front, though, right now. Junior share drafting with Gordon. Today is a day of making allies. That's what today's all about. Junior gonna bump draft Gordon on the back straightaway. Hits him square. Gonna give him a little bit extra boost. Well, that didn't work. So a tiny bit of contact with Gordon. Gordon got in the wall off turn 4. Junior going down the track to try and side draft the 0-1. And here comes Edwards. Junior up high in front of Gordon, trying to clear him. Carl Edwards trying to side draft the 8. Right up on his door. And now Earnhardt get a shared draft with Nemechek. Into turns 1 and 2 with Carl Edwards on the inside, Gordon behind Earnhardt. Dale Jr. actually did lead quite a few laps. He led 46 laps in the Daytona 500 earlier this season. Unfortunately got caught up in a big one with about 5 laps to go. Relegated him to a 27th place finish. In 3 of the last 4 races, Dale Jr.'s finished in the top 7 with 2 wins in the last 3 races and a 50% race at Martinsville, and then last night in his first 100% race victory at Phoenix. Couple of short tracks. Seems to be the bread and butter for the number 18 this season. Carl Edwards has 2 wins of his own this year. Both coming in the last 5 races now, I guess, after last night. Edwards in the top 10 early. He is the points leader. Martin Truex Jr. is in line behind Dale Jr. A couple of DEI cars linking up a little bit. Dale Jr. with a bump draft on Joe Nemechek all the way down the back straightaway. Jr.'s been aggressive with it early. It's worked all except for the very first time with Kenseth. I think he learned you can't do it in the tri-oval, but on the back straightaway it seemingly worked. Slight bit of contact off of turn 4 between Carl Edwards and Dale Jr. Jr. still kept the momentum up to get to the inside of Nemechek, but I think it was stalled out enough that he's not going to be able to pass him. You don't want to make contact of speeds over 190 plus miles an hour on a bumpy surface at that. But you saw a little bit of it there. Big block by Dale Jr. on Edwards as well. Dale Jr. is racing like it's the last lap, every lap from the start. He's holding on to it. Nemechek's kind of holding his pack up, I think. He qualified well to get himself in this position. He's not running the outside too well right now. Junior's got clearance on Edwards. A run into the tri-oval, down to the bottom underneath Nemechek. Nemechek goes down the track to side draft Earnhardt. Really pinching Dale Jr. down. Don't want to clip that apron in the middle of the corner. Jr. doesn't have a lot of space on the outside of him. He's going to go up the track trying to clear the 0-1 of Nemechek, and he will clear him for the 6th place position. Edwards going to help out down on the bottom. Junior up high to stall that outside lane out just a little bit. Trying to get Truex up here to work with the aid of Dale Jr. He's still got a couple cars to pass to get back to his teammate. Michael Waltrip's up there in the 3rd place position, having himself a good start to this race after qualifying in the top 10. He ran in the top 10 for most of the first half of that race yesterday. Again, got up to 3rd, and then at one point got shafted a little bit back in the middle of the pack on a restart. Then ended up wrecking into his own race car, nonetheless. The only MWR car in the field of Kenny Wallace. Edwards is going to get to the inside of Junior. Junior's going to let him go so he can try to share draft behind him. Make some rivals? I do not. No thank you. It's not the track I want to be doing that with. The 2 most winningest drivers this season are going to team up together. Carl Edwards and Dale Jr. trying to drive up to the front. Mark DeMars, welcome to the stream. Single file for the most part up towards the front of the field. Lap 12. Aaron's 499 at Talladega. It's our first trip to Talladega at any of the series on NASCAR 06. The Truck Series will not be racing here. We will have 1 Busch race and 2 Cup races. The next Cup race won't come until the Chase at Talladega later in the season. And I have to say, it seems like Edwards and Dale Jr. are gaining just a little bit of time on the leaders in front of them right now. And Michael Waltrip in the 15 is the next car. up ahead as he has moved back to 5th. Still staying in draft. The cars in front of him, Jimmy Johnson, dominating the early going of the race today. Might have the car to try and beat. Junior going to pull out a line. Had a good run off the exit of turn 2. Is he close enough to Michael Waltrip? As Waltrip also trying to pull low to get underneath the car in front of him. Junior's going to clear Edwards back, and I think he's just close enough to his teammate Michael Waltrip. Should be able to draft with him. And it sounds like Waltrip and Earnhardt are going to be working together to try and tag team to the front of the field. Used to see the DEI cars do that at Talladega. Dale Jr. right in line behind Waltrip. Waltrip looking to the inside of Bobby Labonte in the 18. Can't tell who's in 3rd. It looks like it may be Rusty Wallace. It's either Rusty Wallace or Kurt Busch up ahead. Good run for Waltrip on the back straightaway. Help from Dale Jr., a little bump draft. Somehow did not get around Bobby Labonte that time. Carl Edwards has joined the fray. Walter being very patient. I don't know how patient Dale Jr. is going to be. He hasn't really been that patient so far. It's worked out well for him, at least in the early going. Big run for the 8 of Dale Jr. Looks to the inside of Michael Waltrip, down to the apron on the backstretch. They're going to be nearly 3 wide into turn 3. No, not quite. He's going to slide up in front of the 15. Didn't work out as well as would have thought. Waltrip not really wanting to work with Dale Jr., at least in the early going. Problems for Truex again. Unbelievable. Second race in a row, it looks like that Martin Truex Jr. is going to blow an engine. And he's going to have to limp it all the way back to pit road. Second straight race. He was 13th in points 2 races ago. He only lost 2 spots in points yesterday, even with the DNF. But another one today is going to hurt the rookie's chances of trying to make the chase. And that's one less car Dale Jr. is going to have to work with the rest of this race. The good news is Waltrip is behind him in the top 10. Jr. on the inside of Labonte for 4th right now. Carl Edwards has stayed with a big block by Dale Jr. to clear the 18. And then back down to the bottom in front of the 99 of Edwards again. Alright, now Waltrip is going to try to work with Dale Jr. We'll see if he can get up there. Second straight race for Truex having issues. I don't think anybody has pulled the pit road yet, so I'm not entirely sure. Junior going to go wide off turn 2. He's going to let Edwards back in front of him again. He's going to lift and almost broke the momentum enough for Labonte to get underneath him, but not quite. Dale Jr. going to share draft behind Edwards. Try to catch the next two cars in front of him. Johnson's pulling away all by himself with no drafting help right now. That's how strong the 48 car is. Single car speed is why he qualified on the pole, and it's also why he has led the first 18 laps of the race. We are over halfway through the opening fuel run already. Burn through gas quite a bit as you're on the throttle, nearly full throttle, majority of the time in this race today. You have to back out from time to time to keep from running all over the car in front of you. Edwards and Earnhardt a little bit faster than Jimmy Johnson up towards the front. It does seem like the 99 and the 8 have a little bit of a connection going on right now. And even though they're battling for the championship with one another, remember they actually battled for the win late at Phoenix yesterday. Dale Jr. won, and Edwards was the one who finished second. Jr. led 170 laps en route to victory, his first max points day this season as well. It's a great run. And again, the first win on a 100% race in the Cup Series in NASCAR 06. Earnhardt looking wide, going to get to the outside of Carl Edwards. Maybe close enough to Kurt Busch in the 97. He's going to break the Roush cars up. Didn't want those two to tandem together and pull away. Busch has been drafting right behind Harvick for a while. Earnhardt's close enough. They may leave the 99 in the dust if Edwards isn't careful. Big run for Dale Jr. Busch with the block. 1.1 seconds off the race lead right now. And this 3-car tandem all of a sudden starting to pull away. The 99 of Edwards. Can these guys catch Jimmy Johnson? Is 3 cars going to be enough? 2 wasn't enough at first. Maybe 3 will do it. Busch looking for a pathway to get around Harvick, it looks like. He's not completely pulling out of line. I have to say, even as this run wears on, Dale Jr. is holding on to the race car pretty well for now. These guys are slowly, and I mean slowly, gaining on Johnson. They were about 10th quicker that last lap. Junior looks low, under Busch. He's going to go for it. Big dive. Busch is squeezing Earnhardt. Earnhardt clear into turn 3, and now he's underneath Harvick for second. 97 of Busch. Pulled to the bottom of Dale Jr. Jr. going to drive with Harvick into the tri-oval. Race high 3rd place position, 22 laps in. It has been a long climb from 13th. For the Pied Piper, Dale Jr. But he is now working with Kevin Harvick in the 29 car in the outer lane. Jr. would like Harvick to go to the bottom. Kurt Busch is there. Big defensive move. And Busch is going to have to drop back to draft with his teammate of Edwards. Some of it was that Earnhardt actually kind of got loose off the exit of turn 2. He didn't mean to pull the block on Kurt because he knew he was there, and he knew it wasn't going to be a clean block. Now we'll move Harvick to the inside into 3 and 4. We'll see if these two can start picking up time on Johnson now. Another 10th quicker that last lap. About a 10th a lap quicker. They'll catch him eventually. I want to get to him before the green flag pit stops, if at all possible. Beast Mode Vader, welcome to the stream. Chevrolets run 1, 2, 3, all for 3 different organizations of Hendrick Motorsports, Richard Childress Racing, and DEI. And the 2 Roush cars of Kurt Busch and Carl Edwards run 4th and 5th. Greg Biffle, who won the Daytona 500 earlier this season, nowhere to be found in the early going. He may be a player in this one later. Biffle's only win was in the 500 so far this season. Started off the year really hot. He's cooled off a bit over the last few races. You got Harvick slowly creeping in on Jimmy Johnson, with Dale Jr. tailgating behind the 29. And if they get close enough to Johnson, Jr. may pull out a line on Harvick to try to suck up to the back of the 48 next. Now might be the time to do it. Dale Jr. gonna look high on the back straightaway. Harvick with the block. Jr. lifts to let the 29 back in line again. Smart move. Now they're gonna go to the outside. A little bit of a bump draft. In the middle of the corner, somehow Harvick held on to it pretty well. Johnson's burning a lot of fuel with no drafting help. He may be one of the first cars to pit when the window opens up, with him leading all 26 laps at the start-finish line this time by. They get a run on the 48. It's going to be tough for Johnson to block all by himself. Junior going to the inside of Kevin Harvick down the backstretch. Gonna blow right by him. They'll clear him well before getting into turn 3, and he's right in line behind the 48 of Jimmy Johnson into 3 and 4. Big run for Dale Jr. Stays on the gas. Jimmy moving back and forth, trying to block. And he holds on to the lead off the exit of turn 4. Jr. looking to get around Jimmy Johnson into the tri-oval to the inside. Who will lead this time at the line? By inches, Dale Jr. will get 5 bonus points his first lap led of the race. Side by side for the lead, as he has not been able to clear him yet. Gonna run him a little bit wide in the middle of the corner. Dale Jr. trying to clear Jimmy Johnson. Couldn't do it. Now they're 3 wide for the lead. Down to the bottom goes Harvick. And Harvick, what a move! To get to the inside and go 3 wide for the lead. Jr. drafts behind him. Now Jr.'s gonna go 3 wide into 3. This 3-car pack is racing hard for the lead right now. Contacted into the wall. A little too hard. Straightens it out pretty quick. Cautions out. Very fortunate. There was not too much damage there, but Dale Jr. is going to have to pit, and as will the rest of the field following that yellow. Our first caution of the race today, just a bit too hard, too early in this race. Very fortunate Junior's car straightened out as quickly as it did, and everybody was able to miss. Accidentally spammed through the caution. I don't think there's too much damage there. Kevin Harvick going to win the race off of pit road, and this is going to bunch the field back together following the first caution of the race. Green flag back in the air. Junior's got to be careful not to battle that hard again. Good initial launch for Dale Jr. on the restart, as he is going to get around Bobby Labonte for third. That caution actually worked for Harvick because he won the race off pit road and has the lead. Junior got 1 lap let in by inches, and that was about it. Kenson's going to get around. Jimmy Johnson lost a lot of spots on pit road. Junior moving around quite a bit in the middle of the pack. 3 wide. He's got his teammate Michael Waltrip in front of him. What a move by Waltrip. He's going to go to the middle lane. That's not where Junior wants to be. Gordon trying to side draft the 8. And we're back to pack racing again at Talladega. Waltrip, Earnhardt going to try to work together. Dale Jr. to the inside of Labonte for 4th. Waltrip will come to help the 8. And the DEI cars back together following the caution, and Jr. losing a few spots on pit road. Three wide for the lead off turn 4. A Roush Fenway sandwich. Harvick in the middle actually holds on. I don't think Carl Edwards actually got to the outside. So everybody pitted during the caution. I shouldn't have pitted for fuel or tires. I usually don't in that kind of situation. Waltrip's losing Earnhardt. Earnhardt's getting enough of a draft off the back of Carl Edwards now that he's close enough, and he's pulling the 15. The only 2 DEI cars that remain of the 3 are in the top 5. Harvick may be the odd man out. Oh, whoa, maybe not. Kenza almost went down to block his teammate. Edwards with a block on Earnhardt. He nearly turns him going into turn 3. Earnhardt is in the wall. Edwards is in the wall. That did not work. That was all Carl Edwards' fault there. I don't know if he was trying to side draft the 8, because Dale Jr. is well more than half a car alongside of him, and I think he was just trying to side draft him to slow the 8 car down because he had a big head of steam. Casey Mears is up to 6th. Giant pack from 3rd on back while the top 2 get away of Matt Kenseth and Kevin Harvick. They're 3.5 seconds ahead of the rest of the pack. Went with 1 canister. I tried to move it to the right. It wouldn't let me take a full tank. I think it filled it up all the way, though. The fuel tanks are shorter on the super speedways. In 2005, it was all a part of trying to break the pack up a little bit more during green flag pit stops. So that is why I was only able to take 1 can, even though I only had about a quarter tank of gas left. I tried to move to the right. It wouldn't let me move it anymore, so I did top off. Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr. working together right now. Kenseth out in front, leading laps. Take a field pass back to Michael Waltrip in the 15 car for the first time in the race today. For about the next 4 laps. Dale Jr. running a bit slow on the outside. Look at Waltrip going to the bottom 3 wide. Michael Waltrip going for 4th. I think the damage on the 8 car is slowing him down just a little bit. Waltrip on the inside of Kurt Busch. 4 position. Waltrip squeezes in line between Kurt Busch and Bobby Labonte. Found a little bit of a hole. Way down to the bottom goes Michael Waltrip. No double yellow line rule today. Pass is going to be legal on Busch for 4th. Poisonous Frog, welcome to the stream. Go Junior indeed. Junior's falling back right now in the pack. I think the damage is just enough in effect when I'm racing as Waltrip. It's kind of holding the 8 car back just a bit. One caution in today's race. 28 laps in. 2-car accident, turns 1 and 2. Haven't seen a big wreck of any sort. No one has gone airborne, thankfully, in the early going of this race today. Waltrip going to give a big push to Kurt Busch. The 97. Launches him into turn 3. Bobby Labonte just clipped the apron in the middle of the corner, but he holds on to his car. Waltrip to the outside of Busch. In the tri-oval, and Busch just squeezed Waltrip into the wall. It was similar to what Carl Edwards did to Dale Jr. earlier. I guess the Roush guy's not liking the DEI cars today for whatever reason. Obviously chopped off the momentum of the 15 of Waltrip. Undercut. Junior gets right back around Busch for 4th anyway. And 15 of Michael Waltrip sitting in the top 5. One more lap and we'll go back to Dale Jr. He's somewhere in the middle of the pack. Hopefully he's still in the top 10 at least, is all I hope. Long ways to go though in the Aaron's 499. Plenty more pit stops still to go through yet in today's race. I think I saw Junior back there on the inside lane for the moment. We'll go back to Dale Jr. Yep, there he is on the inside of Mark Martin. Waltrip dives onto the apron into turns 1 and 2. Might have had a little bit of a moment with his car. Kurt Busch going to get around him on the outside. Dale Jr. battling Mark Martin for the 11th place position. Waltrip going backwards a little bit. Look at Labonte, split him 3 wide to the bottom. Labonte hops out of the gas for whatever reason there. Junior to the inside of Waltrip, 3 wide. Mark Martin up high. Waltrip sandwiched in the middle. Saw Jason Leffler in the 11 car up high. Junior 6 seconds off the lead. Waltrip right in line behind Dale Earnhardt Jr. for the time being. Waltrip gonna try to follow the 8 of Earnhardt. Earnhardt shaking the draft, gets to the inside of the 6. And he'll draft behind Bobby Labonte. See if Waltrip can get underneath Mark Martin as well. Well, Jason Leffler, yeah, he's borderline top 10 right now. He is in Joe Gibbs Racing Equipment, though, and Labonte's been in the top 10 all day. But he is a rookie. 15 likes already on the stream. We're only on lap 45 of lap 188, the Aaron's 499 at Talladega. Dale Jr.'s led just the 1 lap today, a few laps before the caution flag. Junior to the inside of Labonte on the back straightaway. May get to the inside of Dale Jarrett as well. And the UPS Ford does. Jimmy Johnson just got around Michael Waltrip back there as well. Dale Jr. may be just close enough behind Elliott Sadler. It's going to be tough. He does have a little help behind him with Labonte and Jarrett. Might be just enough for Earnhardt to catch the 38. Is it wrong to still call my father Daddy? Welcome to the stream. Depending on your age, but I would assume you're of the age that you probably shouldn't be calling him that. Yeah, Truex blew an engine very early in the race in the first 20 laps. Somebody bump drafting up there. I think I see Carl Edwards and Tony Stewart who were on the bottom lane. Earnhardt wasn't quite close enough to Elliott Sadler after about a lap. Gonna turn 28 next month. Yes, then you are definitely too old to be calling him that. Probably give you a weird look if you did call him that. I know my dad would if I told him that. If I called him that, I'd be like, what? Earnhardt to the inside of Bobby Labonte again. Still side by side. Earnhardt gonna lift a little bit and fall right back in line behind Labonte. A lot of line just a bit too early, it looked like. Ever tried a triple burger at Whataburger? Not a triple burger, but I have eaten at Whataburger, I want to say 2 times, maybe once. No, only once, because the second time I went there, that's when some guy backed into my rental car and I had to get that exchange when I went to Charlotte last year. That's the only Whataburger I've ever seen, too. Got a slow car in the back straightaway who's seemingly blown an engine trying to limp his way to pit road. Lap 49. Had a few engine failures in this race already today. But he's wrecked out. Just one caution so far. I think we had 9 in the Daytona 500 earlier this season. Big bump draft from Dale Jr. to the back of Bobby Labonte in the 18. Still pushing him down the back straightaway and into turns 3 and 4 they go. They have pull away from Jarrett. Jimmy Johnson and Michael Waltrip have caught the 88 now. I just don't have any Whataburgers anywhere near me. That one in Charlotte's the only one I've ever seen. I've never been to Texas before. I know they have quite a bit of them. I've only eaten at an In-N-Out once. Only one I saw was the one in Fontana when I was there. It was like right down the street from my hotel, so I walked after the race that Sunday, got a couple sandwiches. Junior's definitely close enough now to pull out a line to get a big run in the draft of the cars up ahead. Guys are about 5 seconds off the lead. The top two, Matt Kenseth, Kevin Harvick. I think those two have kind of separated from each other. Kenseth's really pulled the 29. Labonte may make a move on Kurt Busch before Junior has a chance to make a move on Labonte, it looks like. Not quite. Junior backed up. He's going to get a really big run on the back straightaway. Labonte's going to go wide to try and block a little bit of a crossover by Dale Jr. Keeps the run up and gets to the inside of Kurt Busch as well. Going to get by both of them into turn 3. Blake Sadler, who had a top 5 and has had 3 of them already in the first 8 races of the season, is currently running in the 5th place position in this race so far today. Earnhardt to the inside of Gordon in the tri-oval. Not a lot of help down on the bottom, but Junior's going to clear Gordon, and now he'll have help from the 24. Goes up to side draft the 38 of Sadler, pulls past him, and already Junior's up to 5th. With Ryan Newman and Tony Stewart the only 2 cars in front of him in this pack. Gordon going to follow Dale Jr. to get by Sadler. Yeah, I do have a Subway in my small town. That's the only, like, chain restaurant in our town. Outside of a local pizza shop, it's the only restaurant in general we have in our town. Outside of the bar, I don't think that counts. Junior underneath Ryan Newman. Maybe underneath Tony Stewart as well. I think he is. Newman's going to drop in line behind Dale Jr. That's going to help him. Junior's going to be 3 wide middle, though, because Newman is going to cross over the 8. And Newman's going to get around both Tony Stewart and Dale Jr. that time. Big block by Newman on the back straightaway. 196 miles an hour. Junior to the inside. Tony Stewart. And again, drafting behind the 12. In 4th. I don't know if I want to be behind Newman on a super speedway. He seems to have bad luck. Four seconds off the lead right now is Dale Earnhardt Jr. See if we get to green flag pit stops at all. We got close to him the last time. We were probably less than 10 laps away before the first caution came out. Gone a little over 20 laps during this green flag run. And a 28-lap green flag run to start the race. Pretty calm start. Our race at Phoenix yesterday had 11 cautions for 33 caution laps, the most yellows we've had in a cup race all season. I have to say, for the most part, it's been a tame race at Talladega so far. But again, a long ways to go, and that could obviously change. Stewart to the inside of Dale Jr. A side swipe. Tony Stewart won the actual championship in the 2005 season. Trying to replicate that this year. Also one of the chase drivers as of right now at this point in the season. Actually, I had Subway for lunch today while I was at work. There's also one down the street from where I work. Had a chicken bacon ranch with Chipotle sauce. I have to say, though, this setup for Dale Jr. is actually working out pretty well for the most part. Hasn't gotten all the way to the end of the fuel run yet. But all things considered, he wasn't going to originally go with this setup. Didn't make any adjustment changes during the first stop of the day, and I don't think he's going to now either. Bump drafted Ryan Newman on the back straightaway. Closing in on Kevin Harvick. I think they have a shot to get the second, or to the second place car before pit stops. Maybe a 2-tire stop for Dale Jr. That was a strategy they pulled off in the Daytona 500. It ultimately ended up not working out for him, but it's early enough in the race. I think he's willing to go for it. Again, Jr. with the bump draft on Newman. Dale Jr. was one of the first drivers to really figure it out with the Gen 4 cars be able to do that bump drafting maneuver, and he's doing good work of it today. There was only one time he really wasn't able to push right, and that was on Kenseth on lap 2. But ever since then, he's been fine. That was in the tri-oval. He hasn't tried to push another car in the front stretch. It's all been on the back straightaway. And it's working. They're 3 seconds off the lead. Newman and Earnhardt are picking up pace on Matt Kenseth, the race leader. Meatball sub. Yeah, I haven't had a meatball sub in a while. Usually I stick between tuna, chicken, bacon ranch, spicy Italian. Most of the time it was chicken bacon ranch for a while, but then I've been hooked on tuna a lot recently. I didn't have tuna today though because I had shrimp later on in the day. I didn't want seafood twice. Love their tuna sandwiches. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Get a tuna melt. Bump draft on the tri-oval. Actually worked out all right that time. It was risky to do it. Newman and Earnhardt run the outside. Kevin Harvick down on the bottom of the racetrack. And here comes the run down the back straightaway now. Dale Jr. looking to the inside of Ryan Newman. Newman trying to pull a block. Jr. going to get underneath the 12. He's going to hope to get enough of a draft off Kevin Harvick on the inside lane ahead to pull around Newman and draft behind Harvick. I don't think he is quite close enough to be able to really do that. Newman got a little loose on the high side, almost got the wall off turn 4. Kept it off the wall. Jr. is able to get back behind him again. And he'll try to likely make the pass around him again on the back straightaway this time. These are less than 3 seconds off the lead. A fast enough pit stop could definitely pull Dale Jr. closer to the 17 of Kenseth. Especially if he goes 2 tires, I think there's a good shot Jr.'s going to come out with the lead as long as he doesn't have a pit road speeding penalty. Here's the run for Jr. into turn 3. Going to look to the inside of Ryan Newman. No chance for Newman to block that time. Jr.'s up to 3rd. Carries a gigantic run behind Harvick, but he's not going to look to pass him this time. And who will be the first set of cars to hit pit road? Kenseth hasn't had a lot of drafting help, kind of like Johnson on the initial start of the race, so he may be burning through fuel a lot quicker than, say, Dale Jr., but has been in the draft the entire green flag run so far. Jacob Givens, Michael Head, welcome into the stream. 21 likes already. We are still short of the halfway mark today. Let's get a goal of 40 likes. Let's see if we can get to 40 likes on the stream tonight. And of course, hit that subscribe button if you are new for more daily NASCAR content. Streams like this during the week. The NASCAR video game side of things with live realistic commentary. And then on the real races on the race weekend. Next live commentary live stream will be on Sunday at Sonoma for the NASCAR Cup Series. .1 seconds off the lead into the tri-oval for Harvick and Dale Jr. Jr.'s led just the 1 lap today from the 13th starting position. That's where he ended up qualifying for this race. 2 cars faster than 1 right now. Harvick was by himself after losing the draft in the 17, and 17's faster than the 29 by himself. So Harvick could never get back up to Kenseth. Bump draft on the back straightaway from Dale Jr. to the back of the 29 of Kevin Harvick. Forward momentum going, and they're less than 2 seconds off the lead into 3 and 4. When will these guys pull out of line? And it looks like Harvick will pit this time, as well as Matt Kenseth. Dale Jr. will stay on the racetrack. get another lap led. Lap cars down on the bottom of the racetrack. Gonna have to watch them as they get up to speed on the apron. Trivia is at the halfway mark. Lap 94 tonight. Newman has a run into turns 3 and 4. Looks to the bottom, and Dale Jr.'s already there. Jr.'s running pretty low on fuel. Curious as to when he's going to try to make that stop. He's going to stay out, continue to try lap cars in case we get a caution in the middle of this green flag run. Especially with a couple of faster cars of Kenseth and Harvick already pitting. So Jr.'s going to lead his third lap of the race. Ryan Newman to the outside looking for the lead. Into turns 1 and 2. Junior's going to stay out this time by, and he'll end up pitting the following lap. Draft by Mark Martin, Dale Jarrett down on the bottom again. Dale Jr. to the inside of Ryan Newman in the 12. Squeezes him a bit into turn 3. Jr. will clear. Newman, I think Stewart might be coming into the pits this time. Newman almost got in the wall off turn 4. Clean pass. Dale Jr. is going to go just this one more lap, and then he'll pit this time by. Caution, and that's going to trap a lot of cars a lap down. That's exactly what Dale Jr. was hoping for. Our second yellow of the race. Oh my goodness, Mark Martin just clobbered the back of John Andretti, and then he backed it into Jimmy Johnson and Casey Mears. I think he just missed Michael Waltrip. That was a big hit. I don't know what he was doing down in the grass in the trial oval in the first place. I think Waltrip missed it, luckily. Caution is out. Dale Jr. can pit under the yellow, and now he'll take a 4-tire stop. And he'll top off on fuel. Second pit stop under the yellow for Dale Jr. This is going to help him go a few more laps further than those guys that pitted, depending on what the fuel strategy looks like and how many more stops we'll have to the end of the race. Is tonight's trivia easy? It's never super easy, but I think it'll be easier than last night's question, though. Give you a little bit of a gauge. That was a perfect timing yellow for Dale Jr. Race off pit road will be won by Jeff Gordon. Junior's going to lose, it looks like, 2 spots. And the cars that pitted before will stay out, but a lot of cars are going to be a lap down for this restart. Green flag back in the air. Dale Jr. will restart in 6th. And the cars on the bottom going to try to get back on the lead lap on the restart. So green flag is back in the air at the Talladega Super Speedway. A bump draft to the back of the 97 of Kurt Busch. Dale Jr. going to pull to the bottom lane now into turns 1 and 2. Back up to the outside, or at least in the middle, because the 22 of Wimmer got back to the outside with Newman pushing him. Junior hops in line now in front of Casey Kane. Can't keep up with the cars in front of him. Junior just doesn't take off too well on the restart once they get to the back straightaway. Notice that off the last restart as well. I wonder if we're going to get any debris cautions. I think that's definitely possible after that 4-car accident on the front stretch. Junior got a little loose off turn 4, and he was in the middle with Kyle Busch on the inside. Dale Jr. finds himself 3 wide middle off turn 4 quite a few times, and seemingly on every restart. He's held on to it every time, though that has been the case. As he drafts behind Rusty Wallace. Wallace did pass in 4th position. I wonder if Waltrip's still on the lead lap. I really hope he is, and he wasn't one of the cars that got trapped a lap down. Mark Martin crashed out. Did he DNF? I didn't see flames. Well, there's a caution. Probably for debris, if I had to imagine, after that 4-car wreck. Our third yellow of the race today, and this is probably where they're going to start piling on. Jimmy Johnson, who was involved in the accident, will be the one shedding debris. The pole sitter found himself in that accident, and whether he was on the lead lap or not, his day is going to be a big uphill climb with that damage. I see Waltrip middle of the pack. So caution's out again. Dale Jr. going to stay out of the pits. I'm sure everybody will after just pitting moments ago. Almost the big one, yeah. 4 cars, not quite the big one, but it was a hard crash as far as impact goes. Green flag back in the air. Still don't think the cautions are going to be done, though. Dale Jr. going to try to get up to speed. Just going to look to the outside of Rusty Wallace initially there. Well, caution again. That didn't take long. Into turns 1 and 2, another debris yellow. And this one's off of Jimmy Johnson again. And a couple cars ran over that debris. That was the hood of the 48 car coming off. So Johnson bringing out 2 debris cautions. Our 4th caution of the race today. And this is going to start to prolong this race. We only had 2 cautions in the first 66 laps. And we've had 3 back-to-back-to-back now. Ken's is still out in front, though. He's nailing the restarts initially, and he gets the quick yellow. He can lead more laps under the caution. He's got a good shot of leading the most laps today. He keeps this up. Green flag back in the air, lap 79. A lot of lap cars scattering around. Dale Jr. trying to find a hole 4 wide, nearly on the restart as he gets to the bottom lane. Trying to pick him off as much as he can. On the outside lane in front of Casey Kane. Jumps into 4th gear. He got around walls for position as well as 2 lap cars. Newman nearly got knocked into the wall in the back straightaway. I don't know who came across his front bumper. Junior's going to try not to beat 3 wide middle. Oh, man. Didn't realize Rusty Wallace was underneath him. He almost turned down in front of him. Great wherewithal to not do that. Had a second guess as he saw Wallace at the last second off of turn 4 and had to move to the outside. Luckily, there was nobody on the outside of him, and he wasn't 3 wide middle that time, was able to make that move. Big run, though, into turn 1 to get back around the 2 of Rusty. He'll get around Ricky Rudd, who's a lap down. Casey Kane, who's a lap down right in front of the 8 of Dale Jr. Jr. going to take this big run down the back straightaway. A lot of 3 wide racing in front of him off the restart. Jeremy Mayfield up here. Splitting up both the Evernham Dodges for the time being. Kyle Busch moves to the inside of Dale Earnhardt Jr. So Jr. had a big run, hopped in front of him. That didn't really do much. Jr. now to the inside of Busch. Into the tri-oval again. Mayfield's making some moves right now. Not sure if he's on the lead lap or a lap down. He's looking to go 3 wide under Casey Mears and Ryan Newman. Into turns 1 and 2. Junior's going to go with the 19. Kevin Harvick got around Kenseth on that restart. One too many restarts back-to-back-to-back for Kenseth to hold on to the lead. A pass on Mayfield was 4th position for Dale Jr. Going to get to the inside of Leffler. Wimmer gets blocked by the 97 of Kurt Busch. Jr. hops out of the gas to keep from getting in the back of Wimmer into turn 3, working the throttle. He'll be able to clear Leffler still off turn 4. Leffler scrapes the wall. Didn't stack him up behind him too much, though. Another big run in the tri-oval for Dale Jr. as he gets to the inside of Wimmer, who is a lap down. Wimmer trying to side draft the 8. And these guys are battling for the free pass position to be that first car lap down or to get around the leader and not have to restart at the tail end of the longest line. They can just restart behind all the lead lap cars on that outside lane. Outside could be the longer lane. I'm not sure how many cars are lapped down. Like caution, second yellow coming out in the middle of green flag pit stops. Well, Junior's only gained 1 spot since the restart, net gain at least. I believe these are all lead lap cars in front of him right now. Junior to the inside of Kurt Busch for 5th into the tri-oval. Should be able to clear him. He's got to run behind Jeff Gordon into turn number 1 at 198 miles an hour. Going to give Gordon a little bump draft. Dangerous to do that in the middle of the corner. They all held on to it. Look at him fan out on the back straightaway. Junior looking for a way around the 24 car. Can't do it. Gordon's throwing some big blocks on Dale Jr. Gordon going to get out of the gas and let Mike Bliss down to the bottom. Bliss has had some great runs this season. And at Talladega today, he is looking for another great run. He's had 5 top 10s. He's in the top 15 in points. Just outside of the cutoff line for the chase. I think Bliss would have to be on the lead lap because we're in 5th right now. Bliss going to get shoved out of line, though. He's stuck on the outside. Gordon going to get underneath him. Dale Jr. backing up, and he's not going to be able to get around Bliss. Bliss going to hang on to 4th, moves in front of the 8. And now Junior will get underneath him on the back straightaway instead. Kenseth to block Gordon. Gordon goes a little bit wide. He went to the outside. I don't know if he was thinking Junior was going to follow him, but Junior had such a big run, he was just able to stay low and get by Gordon for 3rd. Junior to the inside of Kenseth. Again, no double yellow line rule. Down to the bottom of the track. Maybe looking for the lead under Harvick as well. He just got shot out of a cannon. Harvick will lead that lap at the line, but Dale Jr., who's led just 1 lap today, is side by side for the lead again. And the last time he took the lead away, it was away from Harvick in the early going. Oh boy, ran him up the hill. Clear on the bottom in front of Kenseth, trying to get some help. Will the 17 and the 8 be able to pull past the 29? Close quarters racing at Talladega Superspeedway. Earnhardt to the lead, and Junior Nation's going to be on their feet when they get to the front stretch. Junior led a couple laps leading up to that caution flag because he stayed out of the pits before the yellow came out. And it sounds like one of the cars who was out of the race is going to come back into the race. Harvick led that last lap at the line, so Junior still hasn't officially taken the lead from him. Junior going to move to the outside in front of Matt Kenseth. Gordon down on the bottom underneath him. Big run coming for Dale Jr. on the back straightaway. He's going to go up the middle. 3 wide for the lead. Earnhardt up the gut between Harvick and Gordon. Lifted to keep it off the 29 car as he got a bit tight going into the corner. Carried so much speed, but on this bumpy racetrack, it's hard to keep control of the car. Again, he's got a little bit of an edgier setup in it, too. Trying to keep the speed up. Mike Bliss back in the pack looking for his first laps led of the Aaron's 499, and this is probably the tightest battle we've seen for the lead all day today. 5 cars under a blanket, make it 6. Kurt Busch is in this pack, too. Gordon out in front at Talladega. Shaking big time indeed, Kenneth. Welcome to the stream. Haven't seen a whole lot of pack racing today, at least for the lead. But we're seeing it now. Dale Jr. underneath Jeff Gordon in the 24, side by side for the lead. Mike Bliss in 3rd on the bottom behind Dale Jr. Jr. cannot get around Gordon. He's going to go to the outside to draft behind him. Bliss to the bottom for 2nd. Harvick behind the 8 of Dale Earnhardt with Kurt Busch. And Kenseth on the bottom behind Bliss, but he's a few car lengths back behind him. And Jeff Gordon still out in front. He won this race in real life in 2005. Gordon went to the bottom. Earnhardt with the run up high. Just couldn't get alongside of him, and he is able to squeeze in line between Bliss and Gordon. Now they move to the outside. Earnhardt will do the same. Junior with a run into turn 3. He'll take it. And he'll take it to the lead as he clears Gordon in 3 and 4. 100 to go this time by the Aaron's 499 at Talladega. Mike Bliss trying to help out Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the bottom lane. Martel Antoine, welcome into the chat and into the stream as well. Junior led that lap by less than a half a car length over Jeff Gordon. Doesn't have enough help on the outside right now. Junior's going to move up to clear Gordon, and there goes Mike Bliss on the bottom of the racetrack. Bliss to the lead off turn 2. Earnhardt going to get another run, though, on the back straightaway of his own and gets back to the inside of Bliss. Bliss trying to lead his first lap of the race. Fighting for a chase spot, potentially. Needs the bonus points. Tremendous rookie season for Mike Bliss so far. Kevin Harvick is going to go for the lead in the 3 wide, nearly off 4, not quite. As Bliss had the 8 clear, and he's still clear of the 29, I believe, as well. Harvick trying to side draft the 8 of Dale Jr. in second. Aggressive racing at Talladega in the pack. Long ways to go in this one yet, just shy of the halfway mark still. Bliss to the bottom, now to the top. Trying to control both lanes. Earnhardt got to clear the 29, goes low, had just enough room to get underneath Mike Bliss. Bliss is strong. That's probably the most fun I think I've had on this race so far today. This is a great battle for the lead. Keeping it clean for now. Past halfway through the fuel and tire stint. Back to the outside. Oh, there is a car up high. Gordon down low. Junior didn't realize he was 3 wide. Oh, Bliss with a big block on Gordon. He was clear, though. And Junior was able to get underneath the 24, who had to lift to let the 0 in line. Mike Bliss is being extra aggressive in the lead. He's not used to being out in front of the field. Junior to the inside. Bliss led another lap that last time by. He is squeezing Dale Jr. right now. Junior lifted a bit to try and keep it off the apron. Going into turn 1. Bliss is squeezing him ridiculously hard, and now Gordon looks low. Room up high. My hands are starting to cramp. This is intense. Nobody can hold on to the lead. Bliss is probably the strongest car right now in this pack. At least they're trying to hold on to the lead. Another run for Earnhardt. Bliss thought about blocking, thought better of it. Unlike with Gordon, he was not clear. Junior to the inside, but again, he just can't clear the 0. Still on the inside of him, though, down the back straightaway. Now we'll move back to the outside. Keep Gordon behind him. Another big run for Dale Jr. into turn 3. Again, he'll pull out of line. Again, Bliss could not block. Bliss is getting a good run off the exit of the corner. We'll see if he can do it again this time. I think he is. Junior going to go up to try and side draft the 0 of Bliss. Halfway home this time by. Bliss is clear, down low. Edge of your seat action right now. I think this is the racing all you guys in the chat wanted to see tonight. Junior went low to get underneath Bliss. He lost his drafting partner as Harvick went to the outside to block Jeff Gordon. But Earnhardt finally clears Mike Bliss for the lead. But the run is coming on the inside from Harvick, so Dale Jr. had to stay low instead of moving up in front of the 0. Oh boy, that was a close call. Another close call. Oh my goodness. And another one. Junior leads at Dega into turn 1. Woo-wee! I need to change my fire suit. My shorts are brown. That got tight. The car didn't get tight. It just the gap to hold on to everything got tight. I don't know how these guys didn't stack up more. They all stayed single file. In the aftermath, Bliss with a run. Took the air off the rear spoiler of the 8 of Dale Jr. Busch on the outside going to help Jr. out just a little bit. Time for tonight's trivia question as we are halfway through our Aaron's 499 at Talladega. And our trivia question is, when is the last time that both Talladega races in the same season were won by drivers who started on the front row? So again, that is tonight's trivia question. What year was the last year that both of the drivers who won at Talladega, or both races were won at Talladega by a driver starting on the front row? That is tonight's trivia question. It will be answered at lap 105. If you guys do not get the answer right before that, no hints for tonight's trivia question and unlimited guesses. First one in the chat to get it, I will shout you out. Mike Bliss crowds Dale Jr. Nearly wrecked him. They crowded each other so much that Gordon almost got underneath Bliss for the lead. Still has a shot to get underneath him. You don't have to name the drivers who won, just the year that it happened. 03, 01, and 09 are not correct. Uh, 2002 not correct either. It was not 2015. Bliss leads at Talladega. Junior trying to get around him. Can't do it. "90 laps to go this time by." It is not 1999. Dale Jr. on the inside of Mike Bliss for the lead. Not a lot of help, but he is going to clear Bliss. All by himself. In turns 3 and 4, Bliss just got the wall off the exit of turn 4, stalling his momentum out. And a quarter tank of fuel left. With Dale Jr. back in the lead with 90 laps to go. Aaron's 499 at Talladega. 1985, not the answer either. Again, tonight's trivia question is, when is the last year that a driver who started on the front row, or let me try to rephrase that question. When was the last year in which both races at Talladega were won by drivers who started on the front row? Driver or drivers. If somebody got the sweep, both races had to have been won from people starting on the front row. Gordon gets low. Junior stayed off of him down on the bottom and barely got to clear him in the tri-oval with a block. I'm sweating right now. This has been intense for about the last 15 laps or so. Really sets about lap 85, 86-ish. It has been a heated battle for the lead. A lot of bottom open that time for Gordon to take it away from Earnhardt. Junior's car is definitely getting looser at this point in the run. He's wiggling around quite a bit. Massive run, though, on the back straightaway. Not 2018 or 2019. Junior looks to the outside of Jeff Gordon. Quite going to get there. He will get down to the bottom, barely in front of Harvick. That was a close block. As close of one as we have seen in the middle of a corner all day today. He was clear. I don't think Harvick lifted. Not 2020, not 2019, not 2016. I haven't seen the right answer yet. You guys have about 4 more laps. Trying to get the answer correct. Earnhardt going to get around Gordon. Junior's not made a green flag stop today with the timing of the caution so far. Not 2012. 2029 is not right. Asai Z, welcome into the stream. I think you've been here for a little bit, but I don't remember shouting you out. 2011, not 2010, not 93, not 2013. Not 2009, not 2008. Not 2007. 2053. Not 2006. Well, I figured Billy Carjo was going to get it with the strategy he took there. And he did. 2005 was the last year that both Talladega races in the Cup Series were won by drivers or driver who started on the front row. Jeff Gordon won the spring race starting second. Dale Jarrett won the fall race starting in second as well. So 2005 was the answer to tonight's trivia question. On the verge of green flag pit stops, we had a caution in the middle of green flag stops the last time. An intense battle for the lead for almost 20 consecutive laps right now is going to heat its way up at lap 103 as we have a couple cars who are coming out of the pit lane down on the bottom of the racetrack. Michael Waltrip's still on the track for right now, wherever he is in the pack. Kyle Busch getting up to speed, going to lose a lap if he wasn't already a lap down. Joseph Den, welcome to the stream. Owen Howell, welcome. Juniors led the last 2 or 3 laps consecutively. Definitely had a stronger car in Speed Weeks at Daytona. I think Mike Bliss might be the strongest car in the field right now. At least when he gets in the lead, he seems to be the hardest one to pass. Some of the leaders pulling onto pit road, they're risking it if a caution comes out and the field gets around to lap them. It's a big enough track, they may be able to stay on the lead lap. There's quite a bit of drafting help in this lead pack, unlike what we've seen so far today. Caution is out. And those cars who pitted, I believe, made it to pit road in time. And they did not go a lap down yet. So this is caution number 4. And it looks like we have a 2-car crash. Shane Neal and I think Casey Mears were involved. Mears spun down into the grass. Second wreck Mears has been involved in today. And almost flipped over. He got airborne, but he came back down on all 4. It's caution number 5. This will end the long green flag run. And we'll be seeing pit stops for anybody who did not make it to pit road yet. Another 4-tire stop for Dale Jr., no adjustments. That was a wild ride for Casey Mears. The question was, what year, or when was the last year that both of the Cup races at Talladega were won by a driver or drivers who started on the front row? 2005 was the last year it happened. Again, Jeff Gordon started second in the spring race, won, and Dale Jarrett started second in the fall race and won. That was also Dale Jarrett's final career win in the Cup Series. Michael Knight, welcome into the stream. He done LePaging, yeah. Yeah, so the drivers who stayed out were on pit road when the caution came out. 4 of them will cycle ahead of Dale Jr. Green flag will be back in the air. Good strategy call for Harvick and others to pit when they did. Cycling Earnhardt back just a bit more. As they work their way into turns 1 and 2, a bump draft to Bobby Labonte initially on the restart for Dale Jr., who is going up the middle 3 wide, at least until he gets up to speed. Tony Stewart, who's a lap down, trying to get back on the lead lap in front of Kevin Harvick. Train of cars get by on the outside. Jr. back to 6th now. He lost 1 spot. 3 wide behind him. Going to pick the bottom lane going into 3. 3 wide for the lead at the front of the field now. Harvick, the leader, is in the middle. I believe 2 lap cars in between him of Sadler and Stewart. I know Stewart is trying to get back on the lead lap. I'm not sure if Sadler has to be on the a lap down because he just cleared Harvick, and Harvick's still shown as the leader. Terry Labonte, first time we've seen him in the 44 Kellogg Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. on the outside. Jeff Gordon sandwiched 3 wide middle behind Dale Jr. I wonder if we'll get any debris cautions from that last accident as well. Big block on Vickers from Dale Jr. Dale definitely racing hard up ahead. Two and 3 wide. All behind Kevin Harvick into the tri-oval. Jeff Gordon gets up here. Junior may let the 24 car go to draft behind him. He's not losing any time to the cars ahead. Not really gaining much either, though. Kind of staying stagnated at about 1.6 seconds off the lead. Gordon to the inside of Dale Jr. Oh, we got trouble! Off turn 2, smoke. Cars checking up. One car still sideways and able to regather it. It's Bobby Labonte. Junior's going to roll around all those cars to get up to 4th. So much for letting Gordon in front of him, and we nearly saw the big one right in front of the 8 who was on the outside with the 24 underneath him. He would have had nowhere to go if they wrecked. We stay green. And now Junior doesn't have any drafting help for the time being, and he's 2 seconds off the lead, and the top 3 have stayed single file and are pulling away after the stack up behind him. I know Bliss has a fast car. Good chance Dale Jr. is going to work with him. Jr. going to go high. Kevin Harvick is leading the race right now. Junior up high, letting Bliss down on the bottom. Bliss up to 4th. So Dale Jr. could be the push car because Bliss probably has the fastest car in the field today. Could be his best opportunity to get his first career win. Bliss, who has won Busch and Truck Series races, never won a Cup race in his Cup Series career. Only had a couple top 5s. Handful of top 10s, but he has had a great rookie season with 5 top 10s already, 3 top 5s. And one of them was at Daytona in the 500 earlier this season. And he has come back with another fast car today. We have not alternated through the different camera angles yet in this race. We will do so at the start-finish line this time by. As Mike Bliss and Dale Earnhardt Jr. are trying to work together to close in on the leaders ahead. Five cautions so far, and 11 last night at Phoenix was the most we've had in a Cup race this season. Not quite on pace to being able to tie or break that. But obviously, we haven't seen the big one yet today. We've seen a couple of 2-car accidents. We saw a 4-car accident, a couple debris cautions from Jimmy Johnson, who was involved in that second yellow. Now, the race doesn't start at 2 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. Starts at 4. So they're out west. Pre-race on Fox Sports 1 may start that early with Race Hub. But the race itself starts right around 4 o'clock, so we'll be going live at 3:30 with our pre-race coverage on Sunday afternoon, again Eastern Standard Time. 1.4 seconds off the lead now is Dale Jr. and Mike Bliss. A couple more laps and we'll alternate to the in-car cam, and then from there, the hood cam. Then 0 Chevrolet of Mike Bliss. Owner Gene Haas. Try to find a way to get this car into victory lane. Super Speedway is going to be the best opportunity. He's had good runs, but it's still going to be tough for him to win a race on a non-Super Speedway. Carl Edwards has just taken the lead away from Kevin Harvick this lap. I'm not sure if he has led yet today, but if he hasn't, he has led now. That'll be 5 bonus points for cousin Carl. Again, he came in as the points leader. We have 5-car pack in a battle for the lead. Tony Stewart's a lap down, trying to be in that free pass position. We do get a caution a little bit later. 25 likes on the stream right now. The goal was 40. We can still be on pace to getting there, so be sure to hit that like button if you haven't already, and again, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content, live race commentaries for the video game races during the week and the real races on the race weekend. Next race live stream as far as live commentary for real races goes will be this weekend on Sunday at Sonoma. And you're watching the Aaron's 499 live on KRC right now on NASCAR 06 and our Do It for Dale series, trying to get Dale Jr. his first Cup Series title. Back-to-back nights of Cup Series racing on NASCAR 06 on the channels. We ran at Phoenix last night. And the 0 down on the bottom. Dale Jr. will blow past Mike Bliss on the back straightaway. Bliss could not block. He thought about it down on the bottom, but didn't do it. Dale Jr. going to draft in line now behind Kurt Busch. He also got around Tony Stewart as well. Jr. is all clear. Up to the 4th place position to get Stewart's a lap down. We had a caution in the middle of green flag pit stops during the second yellow of the race earlier. Kurt Busch touches the 8 of Dale Jr. Jr. got sideways, hangs onto it. Tony Stewart, Kurt Busch got stacked up out of line. Bliss missed down to the bottom. Bliss with a big block on Dale Jr. now for 3rd. Jr.'s going to draft behind him. Into turns 3 and 4. Now it's just a 4-car pack for the lead rather than 5, with Kurt Busch losing a lot of time. Harvick up high. That's who Junior's drafting off of through 1 and 2. We'll see if Bliss could get to the inside on the back straightaway. Junior's going to go with Harvick in the 29 car. Mike Bliss still down low. Bliss is still there. Harvick down low to now block the 0. Dale Jr. to the outside of the 29. Cautions out, back in the pack. I think Jr. was in 3rd when the yellow came out. I don't think he was ahead of the 29 of Harvick. And Kenny Wallace gets blasted by the 45 of Kyle Petty. Petty nearly flips. He got up on his roof, but he didn't completely barrel roll. But that's going to count as a flip because that's about as close as you can get to one at Talladega as he went up on his side. Jimmy Spencer piled in, and then 3 cars crashed behind him. Jeff Burton was involved. Caution is out. Dale Jr. going to pit, and it looks like the rest of the field will pit as well. 4 tires and fuel. Jr. can only put a half can in to top off, but it'll be a 4-tire stop for Dale Jr. and this number 18. That was our 6th caution of the race tonight. Edwards leads the field onto pit road. Who will win the race out of the pits this time? Junior's crew hasn't been the greatest on pit road. They haven't been bad. They haven't made a major mistake up to this point. As they round to the left side, so far so good on this stop. And they're going to drop the jack. 15.1 second stop. They're going to get out ahead of the 99 of Edwards. Harvick will win the race off pit road. Dale Jr. will be out third. Gordon second. So no spots lost for Dale Jr. that time. Gordon gains a couple, moving himself up to second. And here we come to the restart. Green flag. Going to be back in the air at Talladega. Dale Jr. going to try to get going here quickly. Going up the middle. Dale Jr. shot out of a cannon. He's hooked on the 88 of Jarrett. He just knocked Dale Jarrett out of line. Poor Jarrett. Car high. Junior's just going to stay on the bottom now. Murray clipping the apron. Harvick holds on to the lead on the restart. Bliss got a little loose on the outside. That was aggressive move by Dale Jr., but making contact with Dale Jarrett as they were getting up to speed, costing him a shot to actually get to the lead. Right on the onboard cam for one more lap. Car's up high as Junior's just trying to hold the bottom for the time being in front of Mike Bliss in the zero. I don't know if McMurray's on the lead lap. If he is, he's in the top 5. A young Jamie McMurray in his first time with Chip Ganassi Racing in the 42 before he went to Roush, which would be the next season. Racing in the 26 car on NASCAR 07. Bliss couldn't quite get to the outside of Dale Jr. that time. Bliss down low to block McMurray side by side for the lead between Jeff Gordon and Kevin Harvick. Lap car of Casey Mears has been involved in not one but 2 accidents today. And we have another slow car on the back straightaway who may have blown an engine after the restart. Another slow car right there with him. McMurray losing the 0 and the 8 just a bit right now. Harvick trying to get back around the lap car of Casey Mears as Dale Jr. closes in behind him. Haven't seen the big one. We did see our first flip of the race with Kyle Petty in the 45 under that last caution. And we've had 6 of them so far. Dale Jr. on the inside of Casey Mears clears him going into turn 3. He clears Harvick for second as well. And Mears on the bottom right behind Jr. Slow car on the front stretch. One car gets to, that's Jarrett, who is on the front stretch right now in the tri-oval. He's off the pace after getting knocked below the yellow line on the restart for Dale Jr. Ice to Monkey 92 Hammer, welcome to the stream. Jr. doesn't have enough help from behind right now, but he's desperately just trying to stay in the draft of Jeff Gordon. If he gets a run, he is going to take it and try to take the lead away from the 24. We'll have a classic Gordon and Earnhardt battle at Talladega. Gordon has not won a race yet this season, 9th of the year. Junior's got a massive run in the tri-oval right now. He's going to look low, looking for the lead. Gordon led that lap at the line, but Dale Jr. with a gigantic run to the inside. He's going to go wide to block Gordon. Gordon's going to try the crossover down to the bottom. As Earnhardt rides the wall, Gordon clears Dale Jr. What a crossover at Talladega. Through the bumps. Jr. gets another run, though, behind Gordon on the back straightaway, and he'll try to pass him again. Into turn 3 as Gordon runs the 8 car tight. Junior now going to run the 24 just as tight, up towards the outside. Stays at the bottom, off the exit of the corner as Gordon goes down to side draft the 8. And Junior's well clear into the tri-oval now. Gordon's going to back up. Maybe let Harvick get to him and try to get a run that way. Go back to the far chase cam for now. Haven't seen what Michael Waltrip is up to in a while, so we'll see where he's at in the pack. This time by at the start-finish line. He was in the top 5 earlier. Stayed out of trouble. He might have been trapped a lap down, though, from that second caution in the middle of green flag stops. Might be why we haven't seen him towards the front of the field since, but he's obviously still in the race, and Truex blew an engine less than 20 laps in. He's probably going to end up with a last-place finish. Second straight DNF for him after he blew an engine yesterday as well. Waltrip is in 12th. He's still on the lead lap, trying to find a way to get up to the leaders. Don't count Waltrip out of it. He's on the comeback. Somehow he fell back. Probably hasn't been getting good restarts through all of them today. We'll bump draft with Mark Martin after Martin threw a block. Martin a lap down, too. DEI cars can get together again. They were strong early in the race when they worked together, but it's been a while since they've been next to one another. Jeff Gordon has taken the lead away from Dale Earnhardt Jr. into the tri-oval. Kane with a late block now. Jeff Green, a rival of Michael Waltrip. Waltrip's going to try to patch this rivalry. Share draft behind Green. A pass on Kane was 4:11 for Waltrip. If Green's on the lead lap or not, could be a spot inside the top 10 potentially. And will Waltrip hop out of line behind the 43? It's going to be a dangerous move whenever he decides to do it. Leader's going to be closing in on the lap car, Dale Jarrett, before long again. Probably within the next few laps. I think Waltrip's going to try to pull out a line behind Green on the back straightaway this time. Although he is still a rival. Waltrip down low underneath Green. He's going to really hope Jeff Green does not take a swing at him. I don't think he's going to. Another dodge. Sterling Marlin going low to block. Green is a lap down, by the way. Hopefully he doesn't turn Waltrip from behind either. Waltrip share drafting behind the 40 of Marlin. It's up to 11th. Most of the cars he has passed so far during the small little snet that we're driving with him for have been around lap cars. Jared down on the bottom of the back straightaway. Stay out of the way. He is off the pace after the restart. He was already a lap down prior to it. Oh, contact! We nearly have trouble! Down onto the apron goes Waltrip. Trying to get around Jared, who stays down there. Waltrip's inside the top 10. It's not the way he wanted to do it. How did that not cause an accident? I don't know who initially hit Jarrett. And we'll go back to Dale Jr. now, who is in third. He's about a second off the lead again. Not sure who's in second anymore. Gordon's still the leader. Wonder if Mike Bliss is in second then. I still think Bliss has the fastest car in the field when he's out in front. He's the hardest to pass. Carl Edwards has been pretty strong today. Barely led, but he has led. Quite a few lead changes at Talladega so far today, as we usually see. Junior may try to let Carl Edwards go in front of him. He's got to make sure not too many cars are going to get around him, though, too. If he just gives up the bottom for Edwards to try to make a run. So he's not going to give up the bottom this time. Into turns 3 and 4. The 0 and the 24 definitely working together. Go back towards the outside there briefly to block Edwards. To the bottom into the tri-oval. Edwards going to stay high for now. So we alternate through the camera angles once again. At least one more stop yet to the end of the race. Not sure exactly how many more we're going to have. Junior's going to let Edwards go this time into turn 3. He thinks Carl's got enough of a run underneath him. Dale Jr. will stay to the outside to let Edwards get to the bottom. Hopefully Jamie McMurray's not going to get by either. He does not. Junior goes down to block McMurray. He'll keep the 42 behind him as he'll draft behind the 99 of Edwards. Through the tri-oval, and here we go. It is Bliss in second. Edwards and Junior worked together a little bit earlier in the race. Again, Junior fifth in points. Edwards is the points leader. They both had 5 bonus points today. I don't think they're going to have a great shot to get 10 and lead the most laps. Still 50 laps to go this time by. Bliss is losing Gordon just a bit. They try to fall back to the tandem draft of Carl Edwards and Dale Jr. 3 Chevys and a Ford in the top 4. All 4 different teams. Hendrick Motorsports, Haas Automation, Roush Fenway, and DEI. You're still staying with Edwards for now. Doesn't want to pull out of line into the tri-oval that time. He'll stay behind cousin Carl. I've always liked this Scott's paint scheme from Edwards. Highly underrated scheme. Even his 2011 scheme, too, with the car of tomorrow. This car, he had multiple different renditions of it. Junior pulled out of line to make the pass on Edwards for third. Definitely close enough to draft behind Bliss in second, and that is going to be the game plan and the strategy now for Dale Jr. So he gains another spot right back up to where he restarted in third. Two fast cars trying to catch another. Really 3 if Edwards can hang on in the draft as well. Flirting with the apron, got to be careful down there. Mike Bliss doing the same. Junior lifted just to hop back in line. He didn't want to make contact in the middle of the corner with the back bumper of the 0 of Bliss. He had a big run, and that's part of why he went as low as he did on corner entry. He's just trying to stay away from him. 198 miles an hour again. Briefly into turn 3 as Junior sucks quickly to the back bumper of Mike Bliss. Bliss has led off and on a few times today. He's been tough to pass when he's been out in the lead. Does he have a shot to get around Gordon? He's got the Pied Piper right behind him, Dale Earnhardt Jr. At what is practically the Earnhardt-owned Talladega Superspeedway. So many wins at this track between both senior and junior in the Cup Series. Junior to the inside of Bliss. Can he carry the run to the inside of Gordon as well, though, into turn 3? He has cleared Bliss. He has not cleared Gordon yet. And now he has. How about that? Dale Jr. to the lead off turn 4, getting around both Mike Bliss and Jeff Gordon that time. Gordon, though, back to the outside with a run off the exit of the corner. Junior trying to break away from the side draft. I'm not sure who's going to lead this lap at the line. It looks like Gordon will lead that lap. Bliss thought about going 3 wide middle. Instead, just goes to the bottom right behind Dale Jr. in the middle of 1 and 2. Gordon going to be clear off of turn 2. Bliss in line right behind him on the outside. And Junior going to draft behind Bliss. Little battle allows Edwards to kind of close in just a tad. Trying to draft off the back bumper of the 8 of Dale Jr. Edwards again, he wasn't quite close enough to keep up and draft off of these guys. He's still not that far behind. He's actually getting a good run in 1 and 2 behind the 8. Gordon with a big block on Bliss. Earnhardt trying to shake the 0. He'll get underneath him. Can he get underneath Gordon into 3? And yes, he will. Side by side for the lead. Bliss behind Dale Jr. on the bottom. Advantage there. Gordon has lonesome himself on the outside. Edwards too far back to make a difference in this run, but he is on the bottom too. Junior just trying to hug the inside and not allow Bliss to get underneath him. Great racing at Talladega so far today. 45 laps still to go. Bliss on the outside. Gets by. Edwards in line now behind Junior. He has definitely caught this group. 4-car battle for the lead now at Talladega. Dale Jarrett on the inside. Getting into turns 3 and 4 up ahead. Might not catch him until the front stretch. Massive run for Dale Jr. Quickly drives underneath the 0 of Mike Bliss. Got a little tight in line behind Gordon, but he cleared Bliss for going up the track. He stayed in the gas, didn't want to lift. Keeps the momentum up off turn 4. He's going to look to get around Bliss down to the bottom. Or Gordon, rather, on the bottom. Gordon may try to squeeze him. And that's actually Boris Set on the inside that time, not Dale Jarrett. Another run for Dale Jr. Big enough of one Gordon couldn't block. Junior is well clear into turn 3. Didn't even have to really block the 24. Gordon staying on the outside for now. Junior going to move up in front of him. Trying to stall the 24's potential run out before he even really had a shot to get the run. Mirror driving. Down to block Bliss. Potentially back to the outside. Junior didn't want to move up in case he was there. No word from the spotter or crew chief. No, Junior was still clear. He had enough of a run down the backstretch. Guess Edwards wasn't close enough behind Gordon to give him a massive shot off turn 4. Gordon will get a little bit bigger of a run this time. Now he's on the outside of the 8. Back to the far chase again, cam again here very soon. In this battle for the lead with just over 40 laps to go in the Aaron's 499 at Talladega. Gordon still stays up high, but the other 3 cars are on the bottom right now, all working as a cohesive unit for the time being. Now Edwards goes to the outside behind Gordon, and Gordon gets a bit of a run off the exit of turn 2. He's going to get there. Junior to block Bliss on the outside. Edwards pulls out of line as Bliss had to lift to let the 8 car in. Junior again looks low underneath Gordon into turn 3. Hugging the yellow line. And we are past halfway through the fuel and tire stint. It is a one-stop race to the finish, but they are not within the window to make it to the end yet. It will be in about another 5 or 6 laps. Junior again looking low under Jeff Gordon and takes the lead through 3 and 4, all clear. Oh, 3 wide now. Bliss had a run, went to the bottom. Junior's going to clear him in the tri-oval. He still tries to battle Jeff Gordon in the 24. And we'll go back to Michael Waltrip for the time being, who is in 11th once again, just outside the top 10. Getting closer and closer to our next set of pit stops. Martin, we know, is a lap down. Not sure if Sadler's on the lead lap or not. I don't think he is. Oscar Ramirez Herrera and Craig Franklin, welcome into the stream. Comment down below, how many more cautions you think we'll see today? We've had 6 so far in the Aaron's 499 at Talladega. Just less than 40 to go. This time to go, 39 laps will be left. It's our final field swap of the race today with Waltrip. When will the leaders pit? No cautions during this current green flag run. 8.9 seconds off the lead is Waltrip, behind Jeff Gordon, who is out in front. I think the most intense racing we saw for the lead was at about a 6-car pack, right around the halfway point from about lap 85 to 103 before a caution came out. Kind of stalled it out just a little bit. We'll run 2 more laps with Waltrip, and then we'll go back with Dale Jr. the rest of this race. Waltrip better be careful when they get to Dale Jarrett, because he is a rival, and Jarrett's a couple laps down, and he might not have anything to lose here. And he may work with his teammate Elliott Sadler in the 38 as well. Let him go first. Waltrip's got a pretty big run right now on Sadler in the back straightaway. He'll move to the inside of Elliott, who is a lap down. Might be a little bit too far behind Dale Jarrett when he made that move. And we've got some cars pitting this time by. Our final set of pit stops today. Sorry, no, that was Borisset, who was down on the apron. I thought that was a car out of the lead pack that was pulling onto pit row, but it's just Borisset trying to stay out of the way on the bottom of the racetrack into turns 1 and 2. Oh, he pulled back up on the track right in front of Waltrip. Waltrip had to go wide. Similar to what happened with Dale Jarrett when somebody hit him from behind during this green flag run, but we stayed green through it. Santiago Kid thinks there's going to be 10 to 12 cautions. we get the big one, we may see a lot of debris cautions after it. We have not had the big one yet, though. We did see a flip already in today's race when Kyle Petty had rolled over in that last caution. We actually just had about 30-plus laps to go. Pretty close to the fuel window to the end of the race. They should be able to make it on one stop, though. I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue unless we get a weird timing caution sometime soon. And we'll go back to Dale Earnhardt Jr. for the rest of this race now. He is in fourth, 2 seconds off the race lead. Kind of losing the cars in front of him just a little bit. Jeff Gordon again pulling away. Definitely going to see some cars pit as soon as the window opens. 35 laps to go this time by. It has to be about open. Maybe a little too early yet. Looks like on the track map there are some cars entering pit road right now. Quite a few cars on pit road. 34 to go this time by. I think Dale Jr. is going to try to pit. Michael Waltrip just came in. Jimmy Johnson involved in the yellow and 2 debris cautions off the 48 car today. In line behind Dale Jr. Surprised he's still running, still without a hood. Jr.'s going to pit this time. Strategy call for Dale Jr. It's going to be a 4-tire stop. We'll see how much time he can pick up on pit road. He wants to pit before the caution in case we get another one in the middle of green flag run. No adjustments, 4 tires and fuel for Dale Jr. Going to want grip to the end of this race. He doesn't want to take 2 tires with still pretty much a full fuel run left to the end, but they will make it with the window open, and it'll be 34 to go. They need a quick stop, need to stay on the lead lap, and the hope is that a caution comes out. He gained quite a bit of time coming in the pits. Good job not speeding. No mistakes on pit road from the 8 crew. Kurt Busch going to get by. Oh, man! Here comes Boris Said. Woo-wee! Pulled up right in front of Kurt Busch. And somehow he missed him to the outside. He's still riding in line behind a couple of those cars of Mike Bliss. I think Kevin Harvick. Junior up on the racetrack a little earlier. Trying to get up to speed quicker. He'll get around Kurt Busch this way. Will he be able to get around the 29? And Boris said may have held up Harvick and Bliss just a little bit. I don't think it's going to be enough. We almost saw that caution. Jeff Gordon is coming in pretty quickly, too. Junior not quite close enough to Bliss to be able to draft off of him right now. Gordon will be pitting this time by from the lead. So he'll be on pit road. I don't know that this is going to cycle Earnhardt out ahead. Bliss almost ran into the side of Dale Jarrett coming out of the pits. Dale Jr. is going to have to let Kurt Busch go and then draft behind him. Jimmy Johnson leads at Talladega. First time since he led the opening. Quite a few laps leading up to that first caution. Junior's going to stay high into turns 3 and 4. He's going to let Kurt Busch go. Then he'll drop in line behind him. He'll lose a spot because of it. I think Busch, yeah, Busch obviously pitted with these guys. Lap cars coming out of the pits. Kurt Busch going to go to the bottom, almost into the side of Elliott Sadler. Junior to the outside of Kurt. Really hoping Busch was not going to go there, but he did. Caution for the 7th time today, and this is going to bunch the field back together again after green flag pit stops. Kind of still in the middle of it, and it was Boris said this time he piled into Shane Meal. And might have sent Meal into the wall. I don't think anybody else was involved. Another 2-car accident. That was similar to the Mark Martin accident earlier with Casey Mears. So how many cars are going to be ahead of Dale Jr.? I don't know how many were on pit road, perhaps, that stayed out a bit longer. I don't think Johnson pitted until the caution. That might have trapped even more cars a lap down if that is the case. But green flag will be back in the air. Dale Jr. going to restart in 5th. Doesn't want to lose too much time on this restart. Was that the final yellow? Will this be the final restart following the 7th caution of the day? Junior gonna get around Kurt Busch pretty quickly. Doesn't want to lose too much time this go around. Oh, Kurt got the wall off turn 2. It's 3 wide. He had a little bit of room underneath him. That stalled out their run. Dale Jr. desperately trying to stay with Elliott Sadler. Now we'll go to the bottom so he doesn't get forced wide into 3 and 4, and specifically off the exit of turn 4. A lot of 3 wide racing up ahead. Jeff Gordon is the leader. Rusty Wallace just got by on the outside. I think that was 4th position. Junior didn't fall all that far behind the lead cars up ahead, and we have another caution. Well, that will not be the final restart. Debris off Shane Meals' back bumper. Our 8th yellow of the race. Cautions, breeding cautions late in the air. It's 499 at Talladega. Junior's not great on the restart, so he did not need that. Jimmy Johnson running without a whole front end right now. I think he's on the lead lap. How many cars lapped? There's no way of telling. No leaderboard on this game. Quite a few of them, though. You can see the outside lane a lot shorter than the inside. The outside on the restart is the lead lap cars. The inside is the lap cars. Green flag back in the air again. Dale Jr. in 4th on the restart. Kurt Busch went down to block. Junior trying to get to the outside of the 2. Oh, he nearly hooked Rusty Wallace. That really stacked Dale Jr. up, and that's going to slow him down big time on the back straightaway. Bump draft gone wrong there. Wallace went up to block Dale Jr., and Jr. went to the outside. Kurt Busch gets by for position down low. See if we get any more cautions and another restart. And there it is, caution number 9. Junior was about to be 3 wide middle off turn 4. That might have saved him. Hey, Michael Waltrip's catching back up. And this will be debris off Brian Vickers' car. Not sure where he had damage from, but he had damage somewhere in the pack. Maybe off the restart, potentially. I think a piece of the front of his car came off. They were almost 4 wide when that debris came off of his race car. 9th caution of the race. And Dale Jr. going to try it again. It's definitely allowing these guys to save fuel. Can't go past the scheduled distance, though, in this game, so I don't think he'll have to worry about that too much. And we'll have another restart. Green flag back in the air again. Dale Jr. in 5th on the restart this time. Chance at redemption for it. Busch going to go down the block. We'll bump draft to the back of the 97. Still stacking up on that outside lane for now. Junior down low underneath the 97 of Kurt Busch. I think that bump draft really helped him any, though. Junior going to go down and try to block Scott Riggs. We have less than 20 laps to go at Talladega. Three wide up towards the front of the field off turn 4. 3 wide back where Dale Jr.'s at, and Junior's in the middle. Lap cars to the inside and outside of Scott Wimmer, Scott Riggs. Both the Scotts, and both in their 2nd year in the Cup Series. Dale Jr. has Jeff Green in front of him. They'll draft behind him and clear Wimmer on the outside. Green is a lap down. Was this the final restart of the race following caution number 9? No, it was not. Another caution, our 10th of the race. One shy of tying the most on the season. Debris off Boris Said's race car. His hood has fallen off, and the more cautions we see late in the race, the less green flag laps of racing we're going to have, and that's less of a shot Junior's going to have to get back to the front. DW's booty hole smells like poop. Welcome to the stream. My goodness. That's nasty. Nasty and funny at the same time. Because I have, I guess, a 5-year-old's sense of humor. Jeff Gordon keeps nailing these restarts, by the way, at the front of the field right now. Mike Bliss still in second after all this. 2 rookies in the top 4 with Edwards, who, even though has won a couple races already this season, will line up 4th on the restart. Again, green flag back in the air. Junior briefly underneath of Carl Edwards. Edwards gonna clear him. Edwards down to the bottom now. Ooh, little bump draft. Bliss to the back of the 24 on the back straightaway. Now Bliss pulls out of line. Drafting behind, I believe, lap car Tony Stewart. Junior's gonna need a little bit more help. 14 to go right now off of this restart. 3 wide back there for about 2nd or 3rd. They're almost 3 wide for the lead. Off turn 4 as we get to speed at Talladega. Junior trying to hold these cars behind him. 1.2 seconds off the lead. He's hoping the lap cars up there slow the leaders down just enough as they run 2 and 3 wide. The Dale Jr. can lead this second group towards the front group without hopefully having to let a car by him. But if they start to pull away ever so slightly, he needs to hurry up, hop in line, and likely be the push car. You don't know how many more yellows we're going to get. Mike Bliss to the lead on the back straightaway. He has gotten around Gordon on the restart. One too many restarts late in this race for Gordon has costed him the lead. Bliss has had a fast car when he has led the few times today. He's been tough to pass. Is it game over? As they come to 12 to go. Seen a lot of yellows. We still haven't seen the big one. We have seen one flip today from Kyle Petty. We've had 10 cautions, one shy of tying the most in a season. At least this season in the Cup Series, and that was Phoenix yesterday. Casey Kane looking to the inside of Dale Jr. This could slow Jr. up. Kane getting underneath him. Trying to side draft the 8. Jr. trying to keep the momentum up. 3 wide. Up ahead, looks like Carl Edwards is in 3rd. All lap cars that are 3 wide of Stewart, Labonte, and Jeff Green. But they are still in the lead pack. As Casey Kane tries to just push Dale Jr. forward. 11 to go. Ain't over until the checkered flag waves. That is true. Or the caution if we get with 5 laps to go or less. That could end the race as well. Bliss has lost the lead to Jeff Gordon as Edwards and Gordon teamed up to get by the Haas car of Bliss. Contact between Stewart and Burton off of turn 2 as Stewart may have brushed the wall. That stack up's going to allow Dale Jr. to get to the inside of the 31. And he should clear him into turn 3 and does as he drafts behind the 43 of Green, who was a lap down on the bottom. The top 4 cars in this pack are the lead 4. Easy to follow there. Dale Jr. in 5th. He's going to be right behind Labonte from now. He's not going to pull out of line yet. He's still maybe just a bit too far behind Busch. 10 to go, and the Aaron's $4.99 at Talladega. Again, like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. This is going to be a wild ride to the finish. Bliss looking, fighting, back to the inside of Edwards. Off turn 2 for 2nd. Junior thought about pulling out a line to the outside. He'll stay behind Green for another straightaway. Junior really needs this race to stay green to the finish. It's not good on restarts. This guy saved a lot of fuel during the cautions and only hit half a tank right now. Gotta hope that Green has enough pace though, even though he's a lap down, that he could stay with the leaders up ahead as well. Junior continues to draft with him. Now he goes to the bottom of green. Might have pulled out a little too early. He wasn't expecting green to go to the outside that time. Junior's going to clear Jeff Green off of turn 2. Maybe he does. Is he close enough behind Kurt Busch? This is the moment of truth. Dale Jr.'s just praying he is close enough behind Kurt. It's tough because he is pulled away from green, so he doesn't have a lot of help behind him. And the 4 cars in front of him, mostly single file with Gordon in the lead. Didn't want to pull out that early on Jeff Green, but I think he is close enough. He is definitely in the draft of Kurt Busch and a big run through 1 and 2. Races on with the top 5. 2 rookies in the top 3. Kurt Busch, the defending 04 champ, is up here as well. Junior to the outside, in line behind Bliss. It's going to give him a big bump draft going into turn 3. Edwards with a block on the 0. He gets stalled out. Junior down to block Kurt Busch, and he's up to 3rd as he gets around the 0 of Bliss, who had to lift after Edwards blocked him on the outside. 7 laps to go, this time by for Jeff Gordon. Trying to replicate history and win the Aaron's 499 at Talladega in this 05 season like he did in real life. Oddly enough, he started 2nd in that race, and he started 2nd today. History may be on the side with Gordon. Can Bliss and Busch hang on? Can the Roush cars of Edwards and Busch work together to at least get one of those 2 in victory lane? Kurt hasn't won yet this year. Edwards looks low. Gordon goes down to block the 99. Junior to the outside of the 99 of Carl Edwards now. In line behind Jeff Gordon. He shoves him down to the bottom. Gordon got it just a hair loose in the middle of the corner, and Junior somehow fit his car between the 99 and the 24. Trying to side draft Gordon, but Gordon's clearing the lead again with 6 to go at the line. They could be racing to a caution. They could be racing to the checkered flag. It is time to go. Junior aggressively hanging on the left rear corner panel of Jeff Gordon. Trying to run him up the hill. Contact, Gordon's in the wall. Here comes Edwards to the inside. Earnhardt has moved Gordon, and he blocks Edwards for the lead on the back straightaway. My heart is pounding right now. I'm sure your guys' probably is too. Mike Bliss got up to 3rd. Gordon still in the lead pack. More cars closing in from behind. Some a lap down, some on the lead lap. Mike Bliss potentially looking to the outside. He goes down to side draft the 8 of Dale Jr., and Bliss will lead this lap at the line with 5 to go. Three cars on the bottom right now, 2 up high. We saw the big one with 5 to go in the Daytona 500 earlier this season. Junior trying to squeeze Carl Edwards. Can't wait for the right moment, though, because if a caution comes out, the race is going to end this late. 4 to go. You don't want to wait till the last lap because it may be too late if we don't even get to the last lap. Junior's going to clear Bliss into turn 1 with 4 to go for the lead again. Clear up high. Kurt Busch to the inside. Junior going to try to side draft the 97. Not clear yet is Kurt. Junior way down the track trying to pinch Kurt Busch on the inside. They rub fenders. Not a lot of help for Kurt down low. But he will get the advantage off turn 4. And as they go back into the tri-oval, Dale Jr. pulls to the inside of Kurt Busch. At the line this time. Really close to call. I think Junior led that lap. 3 to go. could have the closest finish. I mean, I don't even know who finished second. Oh my, have you ever? Yes. Tristich Schmidt, welcome to the stream. Toxic Punk, young boy, welcome. See you in the chat. The original Cars photo finish replicated. Yeah, we stuck our tongue out to win this race. I'm glad that ended under green. Unbelievable. And they didn't have to wreck the field to do it. I'm gonna burn it down. 4th win of the season, back-to-back for Dale Jr., and he has won 3 of the last 4. I don't think we're ever gonna have a finish like that ever again. That was insane. Let's get Mike Joy on the phone. Oh my goodness. I can't keep a smile off my face right now. That was insane. I'm shaking almost. Wow. There's got to be a replay of that. Margin of victory, 1/1000th of a second. And Carl Edwards finished second. Kurt Busch, who led going into turn 3, finishes 3rd. Closest finish in NASCAR history. In the Cup Series. Oh my goodness. After 3 hours, 34 minutes, don't have a heart attack. I don't plan on it. Oh my goodness, 40 lead changes. We didn't even have the big one. We had 10 cautions for 30 caution laps, but wow. I feel like Trevor Bayne when he won the Daytona 500. Oh, what? I don't even know where to go. Badger was 0-0-0. I don't know if the video game could actually like show that as a finish though. That is we gotta find a replay of that. It's probably going to be the very, very end of it on the highlight reel. Because we can't go back lap by lap, but on this game. Junior Nation. Junior wins another race at Talladega for DEI. Wow! I mean, what if you're going to have a last lap pass, that's the way to get it done right there. Unbelievable, man. I am still just as shocked now as I was like 3 minutes ago whenever it was that we finished. We still gotta look at the top finishers. We gotta look at how the points shape out. Another 1-2 finish for Earnhardt and Edwards. Back-to-back races. I'll go back to the highlight reel before I check out the rest of the finishing results. Oh, that wasn't when I was Dale Jr. That was with Michael Waltrip. I think that was the finish right there. Was highlight 2. Oh, there's only 2 of them. Yeah. So the second one, that was wild. Yeah, that was when I was racing as Waltrip though. Not Dale Jr. This was the finish. I wish we had a better. I didn't realize I was moving around that much. I was just trying to side draft as many cars as possible, really. I wish we had a better camera angle of it. That's all we have, but I mean that was the finish. I thought when it instantly happened, I don't know who won, but I thought Kurt Busch and I would have been 1-2. I didn't think Edwards would have ended up second, but that's how close it was. I mean 1/1000th of a second. That is insane. I mean the top 3 had to have been within a couple thousandths of a second. I don't know if I feel bad for anybody who missed this, that was watching earlier and didn't watch to the finish. But this is definitely one to go back and rewatch. Just off the finish alone. I think Junior actually led He didn't lead coming to the white flag, but he did lead the couple laps before that. So I think it was the last lap pass for the win. I wish you could see the interval throughout the top 10 instead of just first and second. That's the only bad part about this game. Because we don't know exactly how close Kurt Busch was. Harvick came back to finish 4th. He passed... Where did Harvick come from? I didn't realize he was right behind me giving me the push at the finish. I thought Gordon and Bliss were still there. And Jimmy Johnson, who was without a hood, was involved in an accident, shedded debris twice in the race, ran the rest of the race without a front bumper over his grill, without a hood, and still finished 7th. I think he was on the lead lap, too. That is unbelievable. Once again, I have never. Yeah, we'll check out the top finishers and then the point standings. How about McMurray 8th? Yeah, good run for Jamie Mack. Man, that is going to live for the rest of channel's history. That is insane. Carl Edwards ends up 2nd. He led 7 laps today. Kurt Busch led 1 lap late. I think he led coming to the white flag. That was the only lap Kurt Busch led the entire race. 5 bonus points, though, for him doing that. Dale Jr. led 22 laps. Was not the most. After starting 13th. Kevin Harvick, 25 laps led, finishes 4th. Jeff Gordon led the most laps today with 51 laps led, finished in 5th. Mike Bliss, another great run. Solid car, ended up in 6th with 10 laps led. Jimmy Johnson did finish on the lead lap. Led 29 laps after qualifying on the pole early. And got a timely caution, which put him in that position to stay on the lead lap. And that's why even with the wrecked car, he ended up finishing 7th. The top 6 had to have finished within a couple tenths of a second of each other because they were all under a blanket. It was almost 3x3 at the line. Jamie McMurray, he finished on the lead lap, 8th. Greg Biffle, lead lap, finished 9th. Casey Kane rounds out the top 10, also finished on the lead lap. Casey Mears was involved in 2 accidents today on wrecks and still finished 11th. Matt Kenseth led 41 laps, he finished 12th. Michael Waltrip finished 14th. Somehow stayed out of trouble, but just wasn't up there at the finish. Along with Dale Jr., there were quite a few cars that finished on the lead lap, more than what I thought. 16 cars finished on the lead lap today. Stewart was the first car lap down at 17th. He led 1 lap. Look at the DNFs. I think Boris said still finished. Kenny Schrader, he DNF'd. Kenny Wallace DNF'd. Ryan Newman DNF'd. Jeremy Mayfield DNF'd. Wagner DNF'd, and Martin Truex Jr., of course, blew up on lap 15. Fortunate last place finish for him. And we'll check out the point standings. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, if you thought tonight was entertaining, we have Talladega again tomorrow. We still have a Busch race to go. We got to go for the sweep with Dale Jr. We haven't been able to do that. My bad luck on the super speedways. I've won at Talladega twice now in the Cup Series in the EA Sports games. And we get to see Dale Jr. in victory lane right here. It's like photo finish of Monza, 1975 Formula 1. I honestly don't know of that race. Not really good with Formula 1 history for the most part. I'll have to look that up though. And the next race of the Cup season is a crown jewel, the Southern 500. Presented by Dodge. This is going to be the 10th race of the season. Under the lights, too. The first ever night race in the Southern 500. So that will be the next race on the Cup side. That will be next week. But again, tomorrow night. Start time at 9:30, I believe. Let me check the start time, and then we'll check out the point standings. But I think 9:30 will be our Xfinity race at Talladega. That will be 300 miles, 113 laps, I believe, is the scheduled distance. And yes, tomorrow night's stream will start at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a little bit later. But it is a Saturday night, and it is a shorter race. Should get done right around 11-ish, if I had to guess. It depends on how many cautions we get, too. We had 10 of them tonight. The Busch Series, we seem to have a lot more yellows, even in shorter races. I just can't get over this finish. That is insane. Strong race car from Jimmy Johnson, yeah. Definitely had a fast car. Just imagine, he probably would have been the one to beat if he didn't get caught up in that wreck, but it's a danger of being in the middle of the pack. I think we ran top 10 all night. I don't remember, outside of obviously starting 13th, I don't remember being outside the top 10 after like lap 4. And that's what it took to just keep up with the leaders. Led 22 laps off and on. Not a max points day, but Earnhardt will move up one spot in the standings to 4th. Carl Edwards, though, is on a tear this season. He's got 2 wins. He's got a couple runner-ups in the last couple of races. And Dale Jr. and Carl Edwards on absolute hot streaks. 2 hottest drivers right now in the Cup Series. Greg Biffle 5th. After winning the Daytona 500. He was a non-factor today, really. I'm surprised. I don't think he ever led a lap either. He was never at the front, even though he had a couple teammates up there at the end. Biffle won the Daytona 500, but Talladega just did not go his way. Jeff Gordon, 6th. Matt Kenseth, 7th. Kurt Busch, 8th after a good finish. 3rd place, Rusty Wallace rounded out the top 10. Mike Bliss, with the 6th place finish today, is creeping up on Rusty Wallace for that last spot to get into the chase. I'm just afraid Mike Bliss isn't going to be able to keep this pace up this year. He's had 6 top 10s in the first 9 races, but I don't think he's going to be able to keep this stretch up. I just feel like he's going to have some engine failures, and being on a somewhat underfunded team at this time with Haas in 2005. Ryan Newman's outside right now. And 12. Newman was good early to mid-2000s. Kyle Busch, rookie outside. Harvick's 15th. He's definitely somebody who should be in the chase. Truex has fallen back to 18th after back-to-back DNFs. That's unfortunate. He was 13th, and he was only like 90 back of 10th a couple races ago. 2 DNFs later, he's a couple hundred out of 10th. Quite a few cars in between him. Michael Waltrip, 23rd in points. He does move up quite a bit in the standings after today's race. Mark Martin, 24th. Terry Labonte, 41st. The former champion Terry Labonte. Unbelievable. Well, you had to have enjoyed tonight's race. I don't know how you couldn't have. Like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. That's going to wrap up our stream. I'm still just befuddled at the finish. That is one that is going to live on forever in channel history. What a race. What a finish. 3x3 at the line. And by 1/1000th of a second in the middle, Dale Jr. wins at Talladega. I wasn't sure he was going to be able to keep the momentum up off turn 4, but I think Edwards going to the bottom just kind of stalled everybody out, and it was just luck from there, really, that just allowed the 8 car to keep enough speed to hold on to the lead by a nose at the finish. Closest finish in NASCAR history, closest finish in channel history. And Dale Jr. gets 4 wins in the first 9 races. Despite the struggles this season, is 4th in points and is on a hot streak right now. 3 wins in the last 4 races. He's gone back-to-back. Finished in the top 7 in 4 of the last 5. Things are going good for Dale Jr. Carl Edwards, obviously an early season championship favorite, I think. The Jr.'s right there with him. Only 4 points behind Johnson for 3rd. He could definitely overtake him next week in the Southern 500. That's going to be a tough one on this game, though. Southern 500 at Darlington. But again, that'll be next week, tomorrow night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll go Talladega racing again, and it'll be for the Busch Series, as Dale Jr. will try to pull off the sweep. Who knows, maybe the same thing happens tomorrow. I think we're in for another good race, that's for certain. I'll see you guys then. Thanks for watching.